Welcome to Hopscotch-N-Jacks,
A podcast where we take our inner child
back to school to unpack and unlearn
the lessons that shaped us to better ourselves
and our futures. I'm Karen.
And I'm Justice.
Let's go.
And now it's time for our morning announcements. Karen?
Well, Super Bowl 59 was just held in my hometown of New Orleans, Louisiana, and it featured several homegrown performers in the lineup. Lettucey did the Negro National Anthem, and John Batiste, he did the white racist one. So notably absent was arguably the most successful musician from the city, at least alive today, and that's Lil Wayne. And instead of choosing him, it was Compton's Kendrick Lamar who did the halftime show.
Yes, he did.
Some feel like this was a slight against Lil Tunchi, but I don't agree. As a native, I'm gonna say that Lil Wayne doesn't really do too much for the city. He's a Packers fan. There is no real reason for us to be like, you know what, let's get him, because I don't think he would have put on the show. I don't think it would have been nearly as profound as what K-Dot did. I mean, I think that he really, he said it in the very beginning. He said that, you know, you think that I'm that man, but I'm not that man because I'm not going to play your game. So what do you think? Do you think that Lil Wayne could have done the same job that Kendrick did? And could he have worn those jeans?
I don't think a lot of people can wear those jeans.
I mean, K-Dot did fill them out really well.
You know, he owns them. He could come out with his own line.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they sold out. You know? Some people found them and they were like, you know what, let me pick up these flares.
You know, when it comes to the performance, I don't really think any of his performances have been as profound as a lot of artists have been.
Do you mean Kendrick?
No, I'm talking about
Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's his intention. Like, he doesn't have songs that...
Nah, it's club songs.
Yeah, it's all about...
It's about the good times?
It's about the good times and bling bling. The
bling bling.
And you know, the tattoos now.
Every time I come down the city, bling bling.
I'm not hating on his tats because I have tats. I'm just saying that's the vibe he gives.
He has a lot of tats in a lot of places.
That's how he looks every time. He's like...
Indeed. But what other stories do we have, Justice?
So recently, at the 2025 Munich Security Conference, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance met with Ukrainian President Zelensky to discuss ending the Russia-Ukraine conflict, with Zelensky advocating for real and guarantee peace deal. Now, this is a little skeptical because we are now trying to start negotiations with Russia, who has made it a point to say, I want half of Ukraine, I want that back. And also to try to make it so that Ukraine can never join NATO. So we have this situation where a U.S. influence, like J.D. Vance, is going over to this conference and leading the way to try to negotiate a peaceful transfer. It seems like it's a peaceful transfer of power, technically, versus just ending a war in peace. Now, during his speech, Vance also criticized the European leaders, particularly in Germany, for limiting free speech and mishandling immigration. He controversially suggested that Germany should work with far-right groups to address these issues, which have been a backlash with a lot of the German officials because they accuse Vance of attacking Europe's democracy and the fact that he's now putting his nose in their business and saying, you know what, you need to team up with the far right to handle the situation, especially in Germany. Now, let's just talk about Germany for a minute. We know the history of Germany and we know the history of the far rightists in Germany. aka Hitler, aka Nazis, aka World War II. I'm just saying, that's a bold statement for him to say is to start rubbing shoulders with the far right when Germany has tried to redeem themselves all these years and try to course correct their history. Now, with J.D. Vance's reference to working with far-right groups in Germany likely refers to the growing influence of the far-right political parties and movements in the country, which have been a point of concern in recent years, especially with the most prominent far-right party, AfD. Now, AfD may sound familiar because Elon Musk recently did a virtual appearance with them in January, and in that moment, he told them not to be ashamed of their history and continue to move forward. So with that coming back around, he also financially backs AfD. So now we have our government, president, rubbing shoulders with Putin, J.D. Vance taking a flight overseas because our president probably can't make it. He probably roll out because he's a nothing. So
what is he?
Let's just keep it going. Basically, going over there, acting like we have your back, we're going to support you, Ukraine, but at the end of the day, this is a slice of land you have to deliver to Russia. And then he's knocking down the European democracy and trying to convince Germany to back far-right groups. This group, specifically the AfD, has been criticized for their anti-immigrant stance, their nationalism, and their rhetoric that many consider xenophobic or even racist. And AfD has also expressed opposition to the EU integration and has been accused of downplaying and accusing far-right extremists, leading a significant political and social controversy. Given this context, J.D. Vance's comments can be interpreted as dismissing concerns about the far right's impact on democracy and social stability, particularly in Europe. And that has been the history of the far right extremists. I don't know. It's a lot to unpack there. I wanted to keep it short and sweet, but I wanted to express the significance of this and how much time is being rolled back and how we're always, as Americans, we say we need to stay out of other countries' business, right? But now we're trying to influence other countries to start making decisions that can impact the diversity that's amongst their culture that they have adapted and turn back the clocks on a lot of things and be that dismissive bully out there in the world. I don't think that's what our presidency was supposed to be. I thought we were supposed to shed hope and love and growth and power, but not the fear of turning back time to where we are all having PTSD of concentration camps and slavery. Not to say slavery is not happening these days, but you guys get my drift. What do you think?
I agree with you. I think that it's incredibly dangerous to encourage Germany to embrace or to include their far-right groups when their far-right groups led us to a world war. Like, it feels almost as if we might have elected, and I don't mean we as in I voted, but for, this political administration. I didn't. But the American voters voted in a far-right group. Mm-hmm. And that is what's so dangerous about this. The fact that we have so much power, so much military strength, so much money, so much everything, also so much debt. Let's not forget the debt.
Let's not forget the debt.
We have so much that, so much influence on the world that it was dangerous to let Donald Trump and J.D. Vance into the White House, because this is going to continue. We are not even 2 months into this administration, and we are already encouraging far-right groups to be more involved in politics. I don't know where that leads, except that doesn't lead to unity. That leads to World War III. But I don't know what to do with that. Elon is not an elected official. He should not be. It is what it is. I get frustrated. I want to throw my hands up at politics right now, but I'm doing everything I can to protect myself emotionally from this stuff. It's not going very well, but I am doing what I can because this is scary, honestly. That's where I stand on this. I think that we are heading for disaster. There is something in the road, in the way of our progress, and they're going to keep rolling things back in the U.S. And I don't know how this is going to end, but I'm scared for what that looks like. So,
Just get ready.
yeah. What were you about to say?
Nothing.
All right.
There's nothing more to say. You just gotta roll with the punches, and just be prepared.
Yeah.
Box.
And box.
And box.
And train.
And train.
And train for what's to come.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So what happened a few weeks ago? I know we got on a little serious tip.
Yeah. Got a serious sandwich happening. But we got some nice slices of bread. Because just a few weeks ago, Amazon Prime released the third and final season of Harlem. It's another black show that we're losing, but it was hella funny while it lasted. Did you watch?
I did watch. I've seen all the seasons, and I binge watched this last one.
Yeah.
I really liked the show. I think all the actors on the show did phenomenal in their roles, and I don't know. I think they should make a movie. I mean, if Sex and the City can do it, why not Harlem?
Absolutely. I'm still waiting for the Girlfriends movie, though.
That one too. Let's go.
Let's be real. I've been waiting for that for a long time, and Living Single even longer. But honestly, I enjoyed watching the ending of it. I'm not sure whether or not we need more of it. Are we doing spoilers right now, or?
No, I don't think we should.
We shouldn't spoil the people?
No.
I mean, they've had at least 2 to 3 weeks to watch this. No.
I'm one of those people that say, go watch it and then tell us how I feel. And tell us how you feel.
I feel you, I guess. But I
like doing spoilers.
No, I don't like doing spoilers, but I would say that I enjoyed watching some of their stories conclude. So,
I will say that. The relationships part was good for me, and being an entrepreneur and trying to balance that and trying to have closure with a past life and acceptance of a past life. I think that's great. And then what do you do when you get older and you're like, I don't want to spoil it, but you want to move forward with another journey, planting seeds, allowing something to bloom a little bit, and you make.
What are you talking about?
You're just making those hard decisions on your own.
I don't know what we're talking about.
But at the end of the day, it was very interesting to see how they played that.
Yeah. I will say that I enjoyed that some of the characters, not saying who, that some of the characters had a happy ending and some had a just ending. Like there were some that I was like, I don't think y'all needed to end up together, so I am happy with this. And I do think that, this was a good way to say, not everyone gets the happy ever after, but at the same time, we still get what we need and we can still be happy with what we have. So I'll say that I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
When life's lifing, guess what? You keep it moving.
Yeah, indeed. I want to revisit this, so maybe we can, do a something later.
We'll do a field trip and go to Harlem.
I wish. I absolutely wish. But, yeah.
So speaking of wishing and wells and taking imaginative trips. Let's get into the story time.
Okay, let's get into story time. I have a story.
You have a story?
I do. Here's the thing. I've been writing since I was 11 years old, and it wasn't until 2020 that I used the word for the first time. Honestly, I agonized about it before and after making the decision. I shared it with my mom because it was monumental, and she asked me, "Why would you write that?" And my response to that was that it was real, and not writing it would make my writing inauthentic. So what's interesting to me about this is that the scene that it was in, the scene that I utilized this word in, it wasn't a bad, it wasn't like a violent scene. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something where the characters were, fighting or anything. There was some tension, but it wasn't really that big of a deal.
Okay.
There was one scene where a violent cop accosted one of the characters, and it was racist, and I didn't want to use the word because I did not want the cop to say the word. But when I did use the word, it was actually with the father and the son, and the father was putting him in his place, was putting his son in his place. And that was the first time I used the N-word in any of my work.
The N-word.
The N.
That's the word.
Yes, that's the word. And I share the story because it leads us into our subject, which is etymology, known as the history and study of English words.
Nice.
Our topic today is linguistic reclamation, aka reclaiming words. It's the idea that we can take once harmful language and make it benign and even loving by redefining the derogatory language. What does that mean to reclaim a word that is derogatory for a group of people who are still being systematically marginalized? Is it possible for us to be uplifting? Is it possible for the word to be uplifting? And is it always something that is that has a negative connotation? Is reclaiming words best for the communities that they harm? What say you?
Can these words, going back to your story, and you using the N-word, I would like to unpack that. Okay. Like specifically, because that is a word of controversy, and that is a word that is up for debate in our community.
Yeah.
And so I just want to get right into it and be straight with it. The N-word is a racial slur. It was historically used to demean black people with deep roots in the transatlantic slave trade. It originated with the Spanish and Portuguese word negro, meaning black. It was a neutral word from the beginning, just to represent the color. Blue is blue, black is black, red is red, white is white. However, during slavery in the Americas, it became twisted into a derogatory term, reflecting the racial hierarchy, emphasis on hierarchy, that dehumanized black people. Over time, the word was used to reinforce systemic racism, marginalize the African American people, and to justify discrimination. In the 20th century, during the Civil Rights Movement, activists sought to reclaim black identity. But the N-word remained a symbol of oppression. I'm saying that because it was intentionally made a symbol of oppression when we were trying to reclaim our black identity. So that is something that I think everybody should think about when they think about the N-word. Because today, it is a word that sparks debates, with some African Americans using it in the reappropriated in-group context, while many others see it as hurtful and divisive. So let's talk about this. I'm personally drawing a line in the sand. I want to know where you stand when using the N-word and its free-flowing usage within our community. How do you feel?
Okay, so we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
And so I know that you don't say the word at all, right?
Correct.
I will say the word, but I generally won't refer to people as the word. I don't believe in reclaiming words in general. But if I am having a conversation about it, I'll use it. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Whenever I'm meeting someone new, I feel like I always have to say that because very often people say the word and refer to you as it with no thought of whether or not you are someone who identifies that way or is okay with it. There is just an assumption that because you're black, you're okay with it. And I'm not. Since I was a child, I've been telling people, don't call me that. There's like a phrase, I'm not a nigger roach or something like that. And I think that that's crazy. Even if I was 8 years old, even when I was 8 years old, I was like, no, that's not okay.
I mean, you added it to roach. I mean, now that's messed up.
But have you heard that phrase that I'm talking
it's
about?
my first
I'm not a
time.
nigger, I'm a nigger. And that's, no, not me. So no, that is not my jam. I don't like it. Don't refer to me in that way. And I found that it's very interesting the way people think about it. Most people respect it. Some people think that, I'm being too sensitive or I should let that go or whatever. Like, they've reclaimed the word and everyone else should be reclaiming it too because, that's how they move. And I'm sorry, I can't. That doesn't work for me. In my personal opinion, I feel like it's disrespectful. I don't believe that the history of the word allows me to be open to it because when I think about it, I think of people being lynched. I think of people being sold. I think of people being marginalized, beat, and
Killed.
Murdered.
Unjustly incarcerated.
Yes.
Is that the word or is it injustice?
No. Unjustly. Unjustly.
Unjustly incarcerated.
Yeah, absolutely. My thing about it is there is nothing that you can tell me that's going to make me okay with it. And I think the biggest problem I have with it is I do believe that there is some aspect of reclaiming a word, right? And if you're going to reclaim a word, it needs to kind of no longer mean that negative thing. And, the negative connotation is that black people are lazy. Black people are not, that the negative connotation is that black people are lazy. And it is okay to call us something like that because we don't deserve the respect of being called just black people. I mean, we could even talk about being called black because I am not the color of that bag over there. But we're not getting into that. We're just talking about the N-word and the reclaiming of it. So getting us back on track there, I feel like the word, as much as people want to say that they've reclaimed it, it still has that same meaning. Because if you get mad, not you because you don't use the word, and not me because I don't call people that. But there are times in my head, because it's programmed, there are times in my head when someone will do something, I immediately think, this N-word. And I won't say it because, I am working on deprogramming all of those things. At the same time, I'm like, it has the negative connotation because I never think of, oh, my best friend, that doesn't happen. And I only think of that person who just hit my car, that person who just cussed me out, that person who, cut me off. Like, those are the people I think that N-word. I never think of my friends that way unless they've just walked into my house and gone into my refrigerator and done something that I consider trifling.
Shady.
I'm just saying. And I do that to you.
Yeah, she does. I always ask before I go in her refrigerator. I just hear the door
I'm
open.
legit just like, why are you asking me this?
Yeah, but that's just how I was brought up.
I feel you. I feel you. You got manners and I don't. The point is, the thing about it is it has the negative connotation. And even when you say that it doesn't, it does. Because when you get mad, you talking about that N-word, that N-word, that N-word. And it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a loving way. You've not reclaimed that word in a loving way. You've said it's okay in this way because I feel in this moment that it's okay. But if you go outside, you can't call your child that N-word and then go outside and call someone who's pissed you off that N-word and say that it's okay and it's fine.
And changing the way you enunciate it or pronounce it.
The ER versus the A?
It's still the same word. It still has the same meaning behind it. It's still being articulated by white supremacists and other hate groups. It's still being used to marginalize our culture. And me being from the South, I'm definitely one of those people that do not appreciate hearing the word coming from our group specifically. Especially when I come from Georgia, which is considered one of the battlegrounds for the civil rights activism, along with Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. And so when you think about that historical representation of our history here in the United States, Montgomery led the bus boycotts, right, in 1955-56. Mm-hmm. Then you had Selma, which gave us the rights to vote, the marching of Selma. I mean, you've had lynchings that have taken place. You've had Georgia, that is the birthplace of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the most profound, renowned activist of our time. One of them. He's not the only one, but he's the one you learn in Black history. He's the one that you learn in Black history. He's the one that everyone repeats their speech. I have a dream. He's the one that, led the way and then was assassinated by our own government. So when I hear the word, the N-word, I think about my ancestors, family, neighbors, because they're still alive today, who marched the march, who stood on those picket lines, who were part of those protests, who sat at those diners and got hosed down by the firefighters and bit to pieces by the cops' dogs. So when I hear that word, I don't see the power in it of taking it back. What I see is what I've said. It is a symbol of oppression. So what does a symbol of oppression mean to me? It means I need to stand up and fight more. Mm-hmm. I need to stand up and speak my mind more. I need to stand up and walk into the room and say, no, 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 no. You're not going to turn me away. You're not going to push me away. I'm sitting here and I'm going to eat the food on the plate because I don't care what table you're saying people are supposed to be sitting here. I'm going to join that table, even if I have to bring my own chair. So at the end of the day, to be oppressed, in my head, it's trying to reclaim that word. Because we're doing it in the manner where we have the biggest influence. I mean, we have some of the biggest influencers in the music today, like Jay-Z going head-to-head with Oprah Winfrey back in the day about the usage of the N-word. And that's old school versus new school. And that's when I say, well, that is educated and the uneducated. And I'm saying that hard because you might think you know, but you only know what you know. And if that's what you're feeling is on the streets, I'm going to take this power back. Think about how you use it. You just said you only think about it when you're in a negative situation. When Black people feel like they're in power, what do they do to other Black people who they feel like are beneath them?
Oppress.
They oppress.
Mm-hmm.
And how do they oppress?
I mean, they can do it with language.
They do it with language, and they do it like they were oppressed.
Yeah.
How we were taught by our oppressors.
Yes.
So if someone that's leading the streets is oppressing their own people the way their oppressors oppress them, then who do you think is really winning?
The oppressors.
the oppressors.
The white supremacists.
So ha ha, hoo hoo, they're laughing at you. Oh, we got them call it. See, they're in agreement, guys. Look at that little. Look at him doing my work for me. Go ahead, you little, and yeah, he all got that. That is what is happening, and people are too blind to see it. I mean, I don't understand how we can speak about being so woke, and we are so asleep when it comes to this word.
Ooh.
And it's time for us to wake up on that. And that's how I feel. It's not going to change. It's not going to be anything more than the symbolism of hatred, of loved ones lost, of family members who have fought the great fight, and the doors have been slammed in our faces. It's so much more to unpack when you say that N-word. And we're the only group of people that uses a racial slur and sit here and try to say we need to reclaim that power.
They use it as a term of endearment. And that's insane. Here's my thing about this. On top of, I agree with 90% of what you said. The only issue I have with that these people are uneducated. I know plenty of PhD holders, medical doctors who use the word, and they are very educated, much more educated than I am. What they aren't is woke.
Woke.
Like, that's the part where they are asleep, because they think that we have reclaimed the word, but I don't think that that is true. That is a part where they are slumbering big time. But that said, I agree with you about the white supremacists and how we are pushing their agenda. It's just the same way about how rap culture pushed it in the 80s and the 90s, talking about drug dealing and it's okay, and you F up my drug deal, snitches get stitches, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. They did that deliberately. They funded that type of art because they wanted us to be held down, and they couldn't do it themselves, so they paid our people to do that.
So we were Uncle Toms.
Yes.
NWA?
In the way that we think about it. NWA, absolutely. Like, before NWA, we definitely were using the word. We were using the word. But because that's why they felt they had the license to do it. They reclaimed it by calling themselves this thing. And I just feel like it was not successful in the reclaiming because it still has too much hate attached to it. So to me, it's a fruitless effort to do such a thing. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think that it was a part of the plan, and we do their dirty work with the word. I'm not telling people they can't use the word or shouldn't use the word. My personal opinion is that you shouldn't use the word, but I don't police people's language, which is why, I will drop the word every once in a while if it's a part of the conversation, but I'm not going to call someone I actually like that. Yeah. And I'm not really going to call someone I don't like that, because I think that it dehumanizes them in a way that I am not okay with. So yeah, that's kind of my stance on it. I have one other point, but you can go ahead.
I wanted to ask the question, why do you think our group of people are so headstrong on reclaiming that word when you have other groups like Chinese, Jews, Mexicans, Native Americans who refuses to associate themselves with these words that have dehumanized their culture? And if you are caught using it, you get canceled.
I think that we have done it because we've faced more strife than most of these other groups. Like, I don't want to do an oppression Olympics at all.
We're not going to do that, okay.
But I do think that because we have had so much, that there's just been such a force against. There have been so much white supremacy heaped upon us in so many ways, and they continue to do this in so many ways. Economically, politically, socially, and we just will never I wouldn't say we'll never. I want to be more positive, but the way things stand, the way things are going, it's going to take a long time before we are at the place that other races are. And I feel like this is a way that we can take power. And also, we influence culture, which is kind of my next point, my hopefully my last point. But
they're good points. Keep them coming.
Appreciate you. But my thing about it is we shape culture. And by saying we are this thing, I believe the belief is we take their power. And I just disagree with it because I believe it just plays into their game. It doesn't take power away. It just points out. It's just like having an argument with someone who's going to say, yeah, but you killed more black people, as if white people don't kill the most white people. Like, it's crazy. But the point is, my biggest problem probably is that we shape culture, and our use of the word is what gives people the right. They think they have the right to use the word. I grew up with a best friend who was Latina, and I never had any problem with her using the word as a kid, even though I hated the word from the beginning, because I knew that she had no ill intent. And as long as you have no ill intent, I'm cool with it, right? But if she said that shit now to my face, I would have a problem with it. And it's mostly because I know that she aligns herself with, Blue Lives Matter. You know what I mean? So I don't get down with that. You are no longer, allowed to use that word. And I'm a totally different person. I'm an adult now. I have a totally different opinion on the situation. But the point I'm making is we have allowed, by our use of the word, even though people say, you can't say it in front of me, you can't do this, and you're going to get popped in the mouth, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think that if you're using a word, you have the right, because you don't own it. You didn't make this word. They made this word. How are you going to take the word and say you can't use the word? How dare you? That's a joke. The point I'm making is,
I mean, you're being a little hypocritical at the same time. It's
to say that they can't use it and you use it.
And that's the blurred lines.
Right.
If you don't want other people or other groups to use it, especially when, again, I'm going to say it again, it symbolizes oppression.
Yeah.
Then we shouldn't be using it. That's a hard line in the sand. I drew it, I'm sticking to it, and there's no going back and forth on you're not going to convince me otherwise. If you don't want someone to jump off a cliff, don't be the one jumping off the cliff to show them that, hey, it's okay.
It's okay to jump off this cliff, but you don't do it.
You don't do it. It's dumb, but
here's the thing. Outside of the N-word, a lot of other cultures have taken back words, like...
Or groups of people.
Right. I'm just saying culture as in the group, the culture in that group. And one of those words is queer. Now, as a gay lady who, we're just going to call me gay because I don't embrace the umbrella term. But I wish I had an umbrella term that says that just because I stepped out with a woman doesn't mean that might be the only person I might step out with, the only gender I might step out with. But gay is the word that I use the most because I don't like lesbian and I also don't like queer.
Okay. I'm not a fan of the queer word.
Right.
I can say that. Even though it's a derogatory term, but I didn't start saying it, and this is a true story, until I was at a LGBTQAI plus community, and the gay guys were walking around, and they were like, I was like, did you say that?
When was this?
This was when I first moved out to LA.
Oh.
And so I was like, you're not supposed to say that word. Why are you calling yourself that? And they were like, oh, it's okay. It's our community. This is how I identify, and this is the meaning of it. It's literally a different meaning. I'm still a little confused about it because I don't get it.
Do you remember the definition?
No.
Okay.
That's because it was confusing to me. Because I'll be honest, we have a lot of acronyms and a lot of labels, and I feel like some of them kind of overlap.
Yeah.
And so when someone says queer, I'm like, okay, they're gay. They like everyone. It doesn't matter. It's cool. That's what I interpret it as. If I see lesbian, they are into other lesbians. That's it. No looking the other way. When I see bi, male or female, whichever one's gonna get me
Going.
So that's what I. That's what it is, right? Mm-hmm. But I do like using the umbrella word of just gay.
Right.
Because I think that covers all of us.
It doesn't, though.
It doesn't?
It doesn't.
But everyone's just so happy.
Everyone might be happy, but it doesn't speak to the folks who are gender, who defy gender norms. Let's put it that way.
I agree.
That's one of the things that is good about the word queer, but I think it's good about having an umbrella term that puts us all together, where you can refer to us. Back in the day, it was called in the community. Mm-hmm. Are you in the community, or are you family? Gay men were friends of Dorothy.
Oh, another thing, and this happened to me like last year recently, it's the handshake. So I met someone and they shook my hand and then they like wiggled their finger in the palm. And
Is that a thing?
That's a thing with lesbians. So you shake the hand and then you do like this to let them know. I was like...
Are you doing that because you want to get to know them, or are you just doing it I just want you to know that I like women?
Well, you do it if you're attracted to that person and you feel like they're part of the community. So you're communicating to them, I too am a part of the community and let us talk.
And if they don't know that, are they going like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, when it happened to me, I was like, oh my God, I've read about this. I've heard about this. And that was really happening.
And if they're straight, they're literally like...
And listen, she was a very femme. Mm-hmm. So you wouldn't even be able to tell.
Right.
And so I think that's one of those things. I mean, she had guys trying to holler at her, and from a distance... Guys will holler at anything. I mean, at a distance, you could tell she wasn't really interested, but I just thought it was because she was,
Okay.
Like... when women are attractive and they're like, oh, another guy's hollering at me, I don't have this time. I've
been there so many times.
Well, it's more like she was checking me out, and I was just like,
yes. Move aside, guys. It's me.
It's me.
It's me.
Unfortunately, during that time, I was taken, so I behaved.
Yeah. Understood. But here's the thing. My thing about the queer word is that it actually has a definition, which is odd and weird and strange. And I don't appreciate being called odd, weird, or strange, let alone the history of abuse that it was attached to. Mm-hmm. You could not be queer back in the 1950s, So if you move beyond the oppression, if you move beyond the negative and abusive history of the word, the insult, you still have the definition, which to me still feels like I'm claiming that I'm different or odd, and how I love doesn't make me different or odd. That's how I feel.
I think it's the interpretation of different and odd. Some people take that as, oh, that's odd, or that's odd. Like, they change like the meaning of it, and in the way that it still is odd means odd, but it's a powerful thing. I'd rather be odd than normal. If this is the norm, I'd rather be different. If society says I'm not normal, I'm okay with it. That's the whole point of them reclaiming the word queer. They're still taking the definition of what queer is, and they just identified with, yeah, I am odd, yeah, I am unique, yeah, I'm all of these things that you thought was a problem, but it's not a problem. I'm okay with that. So I get it, even though at the same time it's attached to violence. and it's something that was used during a monumental time in our history with Stonewall. So is that something that we should be reclaiming? I don't know. I think it crosses that line, or at least straddles it.
I hear what you're saying, and I don't want to repeat myself, but in general, I'm the same as anybody else. I just prefer tatas. So, I mean...
And ding-dongs when I feel like I'm having a ding-dong tonight.
It's been a very, very, very long time. But I am open to love in all of its forms, and that does not make me odd. That's where I stand on that. But what about the word bitch?
You know, that word came out to dehumanize, or I wouldn't say dehumanize, I would say to dismiss women, because it was directed towards women. And to put women in their place, because men and their egos and their power and their pride had to use some word to make us feel small. But I would have to say women did a smart thing with reclaiming it.
Okay. And
I say that because they reversed the role. They did not change the definition. They just flipped the script. They flipped the bitch. And said, you're acting like a little bitch. That's an ego crusher for a guy.
Yeah.
And so I'm not mad at it. I mean, it's being used across all cultures, all races, and they're being used to put down one another. Not saying we're promoting bullying and hating and that type of language. What I'm saying is that was a word that was demoralizing, and now it's a word that is still demoralizing, but now we can play table tennis with it.
I feel you on that, and I think that there is truth to that, in that, you know, we can turn it on its head and make a man feel emasculated.
That's such a horrible word to say. I mean, it's just, I feel like when I hear that word, it's like, ooh, I feel bad for the guy, because I know something just happened to make them feel that way.
Well, I think that they should get over it. That's how I would feel about that word. I mean, my thing about it is, this is a whole conversation about gender and expectations that we can definitely have. But on another episode. I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to stick with, you know, bitch as, you know, something that we've taken back. And I have a different take on that, because for me, though, yes, the definition means female dog, but they use the word to refer to women who are strong. And I'm a strong woman, and there is absolutely no way that, well, if we're... But anyway, my thing about the word, people listening to this, we just did, you know, muscle arm
we
things.
Flex. We flex our
that's
arms,
what it's
and
called.
I almost showed my abs, and I had to slow myself down.
Don't get them heated, friend.
I got the washboard.
Don't get them heated. I can't do it. I have rolls. I have folds. But anyway, I'm working on it. The point is, some of us have taken the word back, because I will say that although I generally say I don't reclaim words, I do feel like I reclaim bitch. Because in general, if you're saying that I am strong and I am not taking your shit, then that's the truth. And you can call it what you want.
Boss ass bitch.
Just kind of, exactly. So here's the thing with the word. I have actually asked women that I've dated, can I call you bitch in a friendly way? Can I say bitch? Is that okay? And no one has ever told me I couldn't do it.
Excuse me.
Even the other, I think, it was a month or two ago, I called you a bitch, and you were like, you just called me a bitch. And I was like, is that okay? Is that fine?
Well, with that, I kind of changed. Okay, I added A in there.
Bitcha?
Bitch? Biatch. You know, I had the B-I-A-T-C-H. It's biatch, you know? So when I'm talking to my friends, I'd be like, yo, you biatch, like that. And it changed how you say it, and it's more fun.
How is that different from the ER and the A?
Because
in the
it's
N
never
word?
sounding fun.
Okay, I hear you.
I mean, I don't know. For me, it's the energy, it's everything, and you're right. Because as I was saying that, I thought about that, and I'm just gonna go down swinging with it's different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I'm just pointing out that I am someone who has been okay with bitch as an adjective or, you know, a fun word that I can call my friends or someone that I am in conversation with. And I'm going to be even realer and say that I absolutely do it in traffic. Road rage is going in, and I'm like, this bitch. I'm doing it.
But you see the way you said, you're like, this bitch.
You know, exactly. The point is, you can take the word and say I've you can take the word and say that I'm giving it a new definition and I've taken the power away from it or the harm away from it, but you let it back in when it's convenient at a specific time if the right moment happens, you're gonna say it.
I will say this.
Uh-huh.
It's not okay for a man to call a woman that.
I'm okay with that, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's not okay for a woman to call a man that.
Ooh.
No, you got to understand. No, because it's equal. I'm about equity right here.
Okay.
The situation is because when that happens, you are being derogatory and you are trying to demean and what is it? Emasculate the guy, and he is trying to make you as a woman to feel less than him.
Right.
When you're doing it amongst your friends and everything, and you know it's weird, but you know you're uplifting at times, boss ass bitch, all that type of stuff. Like, oh, she got it, and sometimes in lyrics and everything, it comes off like that, like you got it. And then you have it where even with people you don't like, you be like, that bitch.
Who you calling a bitch?
U-N-I-T-Y.
That's a unity.
U-N-I-T-Y is unity. I mean, and see, there's a song right there saying, dude, you can't do that to me.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the queen.
It's the queen. But at the end of the day, because I was just thinking about this, like if I get in a disagreement with someone, I'd be like, damn, they were acting like a bitch, you know? And I'm not saying they were acting like a weakling or something. I'm actually saying that it is mirroring me saying they're acting like a jackass. Like, I'm not thinking about it. When you say that, oh, this person's being a bitch right now. Like,
They're being an asshole.
But that rolls off your tongue a lot smoother than saying, oh, this person's being an asshole. This person's being a bitch.
I felt the same to me.
Yeah, but asshole has more syllables. Asshole, bitch. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just straight to the point. Snappy.
I'm with you. I'm just saying that. I'm just being real in saying that I am someone who is a hypocrite in this way because I'm just being real with you.
Let's just own it.
I'm owning the fact that I do that. And the funny thing is I am going to start working on not using it. And maybe getting out of it. I had this funny moment with my therapist because I was talking about somebody who I had just stopped dating, and I was like, "And this bitch," and she gave me this look. Like she didn't give me a look because she's very good. But I saw the reaction because I'm always looking for the reaction, and she just gave me this, and I was like, "Damn it." I'm not supposed to say that, I guess.
What happened was the therapist was probably like, you've been painting a picture of yourself like this, and you just said that, so now I got to think about it a little bit
Right.
more.
And I was like, I don't want you to think that I am this person who disrespects women. It's not that I disrespect women. It's just that I use this word on a frequent basis. And sometimes it has a negative connotation and sometimes it has a neutral. I wouldn't necessarily say it's positive, except when I'm going boss ass bitch. But outside of that,
It slips out in therapy.
It slips out in therapy, and I was thoroughly embarrassed.
Oh.
But what about dyke?
I think, well, I just don't like the word, so I don't have a comment on that. I don't like the
It's
word.
a tool.
I don't like it. I don't like the word. I don't like it when lesbians call themselves that. You're butch. I get it. You're a butch. But to say that word, that's just as bad as saying the word lesbian. And lesbian's not supposed to be mean. It's just an ugly word. I don't like it. It's spelled weird. It looks weird. I mean, and unfortunately, when I see D and it's like 3 letters afterwards, I immediately think of something that I'm just not into. So I'm done.
What word is that?
Carry on.
What word is that?
Because technically, if you were from a different culture and didn't know that the Y is supposed to be pronounced like an I, you'd probably be like dink, dink.
Yes, maybe. May have.
I kind of like
May
that.
have.
So if that's what you want to be called, I'm gonna call you a dink, and I'm gonna do it just like that. I'd be like, what's up, dink? I hate that word. Do not use it around me. Even if you are claiming it, I don't want to hear it. Just like I don't want to. No, it's not a good word. I don't like it.
I feel you. I don't use, literally, all the other words on this list, I don't use them. So that's where I stand on that. But again, I don't care if you use it. I just don't call me that.
I mean, ironically, these are all words that are referencing a group of people in the community of gays and lesbians.
Well, not all of them, but yes.
Only one didn't.
Well, we haven't gotten through the rest of the list.
Okay, well, the next one does.
Well, yes, the F word. And I will say the F word because it doesn't generally refer to gay women. It actually refers to gay men. So I don't use that word either, and I don't use the shortened version. I don't use the long version. I know that people do.
And it's an ugly word too. It's like one of those, you say that, I think of maggot. That, don't say it. It's just stupid. My fellow brethren, or sisterin, or whatever, stop using that word. And there's no power back you're taking from it. It's just not.
You're just playing into the masses game. So another word that is not related to sexuality in any way is the C word, the see you next Tuesday word.
See you next Tuesday. What is, okay, you know what? I know I'm an adult. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what that means. I know it's derogatory and I know how to use it. I just don't know.
The definition of the word.
Yeah.
Well, I think it refers to a woman's genitals. Yeah. And it is, the derogatory meaning is a harsher way to say bitch. Like this person is
this something that's like giving it up all the time? Like, or I'm serious, I really don't know.
It has nothing to do with promiscuity.
Then I need the real definition because I don't.
The definition is, the harshest way you can say bitch. It literally means you are a. Saying the word is not going to define it for you.
You know what's funny is that we can say queer and we can say bitch, but we get tongue twisted.
I can say it. I just
don't like saying it.
I don't
you
like
don't like saying
it.
The F word and you don't like saying
the F word doesn't refer to me, and the cunt does not I just don't like the word.
Yeah, it's an ugly word.
It's an ugly word in my opinion. And a lot of people are using it, especially with referencing like a positive, fashionable thing. That's how I've heard of it. Oh, that is very cunty. And I'm like, I don't enjoy the word at all. So putting a Y on it is not going to help me.
How can that be fashion? Anyway, let's keep
It's just
going
saying
because
that
it doesn't make any sense.
It's something that I've heard only in gay culture, to be clear.
We
But
need
it
to-
refers to
our community. We need to brush up on some stuff and get better. All right, let's go because that's stupid. That's trash.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Another, I don't know if we call it a culture, but another marginalized group that has taken back a word, are the disabled community, or the handicapable, whatever is the politically correct way to refer to our folks who might have a physical disability. They use the word, I'm going to use it because I have no other way to say this, but GIMP, and I would never use the word to refer to anybody, but people have taken that back too.
Well, I can't relate to it. I can't relate to it.
Right.
But I like looking at the word. It doesn't look. It's ugly. I feel like Paris Hilton. That's hot. I'm like, it's ugly. That's my.
It's ugly.
It's ugly. I don't. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, if I was in the room and someone's called someone that.
But
I
they're
would
calling
feel-
themselves that.
But if someone said that to someone that identifies with not that word, because they don't identify with it, that's somebody else putting the identification on them, especially when it's derogatory. Is that short for like gimbal or something? I've heard gimbal. No, gimbal.
No.
Gimbal is, I'm into tech stuff. I'm thinking about a gimbal.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
that's
it's just in reference to their disability.
Yeah,
It's
if
a
anyone, if I ever
physical.
walked into a room and someone's has a disability and they're being picked on with that type of word, I would probably understand that it's derogatory, and I would stand up for the individual, because I hate anybody. Just.
I am a defender of the underdog. Excuse me.
But at the end of the day, I would love to hear why they've taken on the word to reclaim it. It's not for me to speak on.
It's the same
If
reason
this-
everyone else has.
But this.
Taking the power away, saying that this is who I am and you're going to accept me as I am.
Well, what's the definition of it?
We would have to give it a look-see. Let's look up GIMP.
I'm gonna look it up.
Let's look up GIMP and talk about the next word, which is
Yeah,
slut.
well, I'm looking it up.
And I'm going to say that slut is a word that has been taken back. And there's even a slut walk where the sluts get on the runway and strut their stuff. And I do not use that word either. I mean, I use the word. I will absolutely say slut. I don't generally demean women outside of saying the bitch word, the B word. But, and to me, again, this is not demeaning. This is just me embracing the word and it being something that is something fun that we've taken back. But the point is, slut is a word that we've taken back, and I do not use it. I would never refer to myself as that. But people who are okay with it have. Amber Rose has made it a thing that is acceptable. So what are you going to do about that? Did you find out GIMP?
It just said disabled person offensive.
Yeah.
However, there's a bunch of definitions
Relevant
that has nothing to do with
You were looking for how it
is offensive, yeah.
or how it
Came
what
up.
it ca- where
here
it
we
came
go.
from.
So the meaning, when it first was derived, is an unpleasant or stupid person. So an example of that being used in a sentence is, I can't stand that gimp, right?
Is it not about a person with a physical
I'm
disability?
about to get there.
Gotcha.
Something about Karen is, right before I say something, she asks the question of exactly what I'm about to say.
Well, it was about somebody who was stupid, and I'm like,
I was like, originally, that was the original intent for it.
Gotcha.
It's from the UK, by the way. And then the US informal offensive way. So in the UK, it meant stupid. But in the United States, it's a person with a physical disability, especially one that affects someone's legs. And so,
that's my association with it.
yeah. Yep. Ooh. And it's also a person who gets sexual pleasure from being hurt and treated badly.
I thought that was a sadist.
That is I'm just.
Or is it a masochist?
It's just
a masochist.
Just Google it.
But yeah, we're not the only people who take back words. Although you seem to be okay with queer, maybe you might be pulled onto the side, give you 10 years, and you might be like a part of the queer community.
Not
right?
me.
Maybe? No?
I mean, I'm not part of I mean, when you say part of the queer community, it's like I wouldn't label myself as a queer. See, I don't feel comfortable saying that. That's
Right?
so weird.
Right? And honestly, to be clear with the word queer, I am okay if someone was like, Karen's a part of the queer community. I'm not going to be like, I am not. I'm more going to be, I don't identify as queer, or I don't like that word, but I'm okay with you
I'm just
grouping
saying,
me
if
in.
we're going to have pronouns and say you need to respect my pronouns, then respect the fact that I like to be labeled as a lesbian. Even though I hate that word too. It's ugly.
We just don't like words. But Justice, there is a word that you have embraced that had a negative connotation.
I've embraced.
You've embraced, because I don't know how many times since I've known you, you've been like, I'm such a dork. She does that all the time. She's like, she'll make a dorky ass joke, and then she'll say, I'm such a dork.
I acknowledge that on the outside I might be cool looking. But,
right?
You know,
My fly ass friend.
I'm a little dorky. I'm a little nerdy. I'm into technology and, all the weird stuff that people say nerds and dorks.
You like a cheesy joke.
I love a cheesy joke. I just, what's the best way of laughing if it's not cheesy?
I mean, I agree with you. I'm just saying that this is a negative word that you've embraced.
Yeah, I don't like jokes that are deliberately said to put someone down. Like, I hate it when people make people the butt end of jokes.
I agree.
That's just messed up, and I've been around people that they do that, and I'm just like, that's just not cool. Just say something that's cheesy or funny. That's not funny. You're really just being an asshole.
Yes.
And then all the people that laugh along with it.
You're also being an asshole.
I took notes.
You're being complicit in the assholery.
Yeah. So, so I can make fun of myself. I'm okay with it. Whatever.
I too identify, not really, I don't identify as a dork, but I also am I'm a little dorky. We're friends for a reason.
Yeah, we have a dorky sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this has been a lovely conversation. There are some things I definitely think we can revisit.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that. It's funny because when I thought of an episode like this, I was like, Justice, I don't think I've ever heard you say the N-word. How do you feel about it? And it was very surprising. It wasn't surprising because I'd never heard her use it, but it was a pleasant surprise to realize that we felt similarly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this was a great episode to discuss this. I mean, we added some lightheartedness to it, but I think the historical knowledge, because I think a lot of times the new generation and the people growing up, the kids these days, they just hear it and they automatically
We are teaching
adapt
our
to it.
kids that this is okay.
Yeah, and we've lost that historical knowledge. And because of that, it makes it so easy for people in this presidency to remove things from our history books and in
Right.
classes. And that's not okay.
No.
So remember, it's a symbolism. The N word's a symbolism of oppression. And unless you want to walk around doing what your oppressors have done to you all your lives to other people and thinking you're taking some type of power back, remember you're keeping it out there so that those hate groups can continue to say it, so that the people, their ancestors who lost their lives, it becomes irrelevant. That's what you're doing right now. So don't pat yourself on the back just because you got the support of Jay-Z. I said what I said.
And a lot of people. I know more people who use it than don't. But, hopefully this is a conversation that will make people think about it. But
Things that
it's
make you
just conversation. But the school bell. It's after school. We take a dip in the pool, which is really on the wall. It's time to go after school. And after school, we pull something out from the time capsule. The time capsule that was buried many, many long years ago, maybe in the last millennia. So in the time capsule, I want to talk about something that is important to me. And I want to pull out something that isn't a toy or a TV show. I want to pull out a weapon. A powerful weapon that our ancestors used to get our rights during the Civil Rights Movement.
Okay.
My nostalgic callback is a boycott. Any fight in a capitalist society has to have the battle lines drawn around our pocketbooks. And hitting them in their bank account is where it's going to hurt the most. And like I said, I'm not ready to wear out my shoes just yet. I'm not ready to go out and protest just yet. I'm not saying that I won't do it. I'm not saying that I'm going to do it. But honestly, I feel like I voted, and that was me fighting. So for right now, I'm going to go to Costco because they have not gotten rid of their DEI programs. They said, fuck all that. And they are absolutely standing 10 toes down with us, and I am going to support them. So I'm going to go to Costco, get a membership because I don't have one, because as a single lady, I do not buy things in bulk. But
you might need to.
Exactly. I'm going to go sit my behind down. I am spending money on groceries and with Black LGBTQ plus businesses, as well as any business that is, vocal and have a history of standing with us as opposed to against us. The thing about a boycott is that it has to be a sustained effort, and I am willing to put in the fight. I have no intention of supporting this economy as much as I possibly can. And if that means not going to as many movies, or it means not going to as many, well, I don't do a lot of concerts, but whatever it takes, I'm willing to put in the effort, because we didn't get voting rights or the right to sit wherever we want and drink from whatever water fountain or sit at the counter or whatever it is. We didn't get there by playing into their game the way they wanted us to. We didn't fund their disenfranchising us, and we need to stand 10 toes down. I feel like I've said that 3 times this episode, but we need to do it. We are not moving from our place. We're not losing rights that we've had for the last 50 years. But yeah, and if boycott is how this is going to happen, I'm going to boycotting. If boycotting is how this is going to happen, I am going to boycott. And girl cot and them cot. Just go with it. What you got, friend?
just started me. I was thinking, yeah, she's a dork too.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool, dude.
Real cool, dude.
Oh my God. All right. So that was cool. And to counter,
Don't counter, add.
okay. And to add on to your boycott,
I love additives.
I'm going to be pulling out the boom, dong, dong, boom, chicka, boom, boom. The pick, baby. Now, what is the pick? Why the pick? Why do I want to pull out the pick? And I am talking about the pick that's used on African American hair for Afro textured hair. It helps you get out the kinks, or back in the day, get your nice little shape of a fro. The reason why I want to, since we're talking about symbolism, is that this symbolizes pride and Black identity. And heritage. You know, it was popularized during the 1960s and 70s, particularly the rise of Black power in the Civil Rights Movement, which we discussed earlier today. So bringing this full circle, as you see what I did there?
I do. Good job, friend.
You're welcome, friend. And it has helped embrace the statement of natural beauty and the resistance of the Eurocentric beauty standards. And I think that's something to really tune into. It's like we have been brought up to have beautiful hair, and that beautiful hair was always straight or was blonde. I bleached my hair blonde, but I kept my curls. I just wanted something different. It's just a color.
We're not trying to hang you out to dry, friend.
Yeah, no. But at the end of the day, you know, we get these relaxers put in our heads that has caused hemorrhoids and fibroids. Wait, we get hemorrhoids. We were told that to have beautiful hair is long, silky, straight hair. And so our community would put these chemicals in our hair, relaxers, to loosen up our curls to make it straight and silky. Now we're finding out years later that people are having fibroids. I'm one of them. Is it attached to all the many years of the perms that I put in my head?
Perhaps.
So it's an interesting subject matter. So yeah, I want to represent and pull out that pick because it also emphasizes for me unity and strength. There's a lot of picks out there that has the fist on there. For Black empowerment, and it's a visual reminder of embracing one's roots and culture. So that is why I'm pulling out. That is what I feel that this time capsule can spill over into the next generation. Boycotts to hold your ground, and a pick in your hair so that when you're standing in those lines or you're avoiding something, keep that pride going. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I like it. I have a pick that I don't use, but I have a pick.
I have a pick. I have like the long, oopsie. I have a pick. I have one of those picks that have the long,
whatever. Teeth.
Yeah, I have a pick. I have one of those picks that have the long teeth because I like to, like when my hair curls up, it gets a little tight. So in some cases, to give it some body, I put it in there. But I don't want my hair to get frizzy, so it like just gets right in. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you. I can't use a pick. No combs, no brushes.
Well,
that would be dumb.
That would hurt.
I pay money for this.
And that would hurt because you would literally be picking your hair out.
Right. So I would not do that. But I appreciate the pick as a time capsule, nostalgic callback item. All right. Now what about homework? Friend, do you have homework?
Whew.
I know. I have homework.
I gotta finish. I gotta nail down a place. Gonna be moving people. Gotta nail that down. And, you know, focus on the post-production of Hopscotch-N-Jacks.
Yeah.
Get that situated, get that branding on point, and, getting ready to take us to the next level.
Indeed, because, we're going to be putting episodes out. Like, we've been filming for a couple weeks, and it's time to show you what we got.
What we got. And I will say we get better every time. I'm not gonna pat myself on the back, but
I'm going to pat you on the back.
I'll pat you on the back.
Right here in the middle. Well, that's terrible. Don't do that.
Some
That's
people
abuse.
like it hard.
Anyway.
Oh, gross, friend. Gross.
Anyway. I have the same homework, which is finding a place and nailing down the post-production of this podcast, just being an adult, really. I'm working on a lot of stuff, but we're going to keep you updated on, how all of these things go.
Yep, holding each other accountable.
Yes, indeed. So that's all we got for you this week.
And I guess we haven't said this yet, but happy
Black History Month?
Black History Month.
Yes!
Celebrate it to the core. I think this was a great educational episode that really dove into...
Kind of serious. But hope you enjoyed it.
Hope you enjoyed it. And, you can always find me on IG, Art of Justice, and...
I don't know if you can always find me on IG because I am absolutely looking for different ways. I did join Blue Sky, and wherever I go, I'm going to be using the same hashtag. Hopefully no one steals it. I have a unique name, so hopefully I can keep it.
Handle?
Handle.
Yeah, there you go.
Handle. It's Karen Got This. Wherever you might be looking for these things, don't go stealing my name because I'm never going to pay for it. But I appreciate that.
We got Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
So we will be on Blue Sky, Patreon.
Yeah.
Getting that, and
not yet, but it's coming.
It's coming. And then any platform that hosts
a handle
for podcasts.
Karen Got This.
Karen Got This and Art of Justice.
Art of Justice. Well, thank you for listening and or watching. We appreciate you. Have a great ending to your Black History Month.
Yeah, and leave some comments in the comment section. We'd like to know what you guys thought about this episode and what we can do better and what we can improve and what you may want to see from us.
And honestly, we also want to hear your stories. If you want to send in a story.
Yeah, send us a story.
Feel free. We can always take it and use it as the jump off for an episode.
Yeah.
If you have, stories about Black history, reclaiming words, all of that stuff, hit us up at hopscotchnjackspod.com. At gmail.com.
Yeah. Hit us up.
Get me right, friend.
Hit us up on Hopscotch and Jacks the pod, right?
No, it's just pod. Hopscotch and Jacks pod. We're going to figure this shit out and let you know. Yeah. But do look at the notes, the show notes, and the graphics on screen if you are watching.
Yes.
That's it. We figuring it out.
Life is lifing.
Yes.
Adult is adulting.
Yes.
We're living.
Love you much. Talk to you later.
Level up.
Peace.
Stay off that grease. Stay off that grace.